almost all over.
Well, not quite over yet, sir, but feeling like I can conquer the world.
Tell me about that response.
It was probably, up until that point, the most challenging part, and it was a very rewarding feeling.
In 3 short months,
3 short months,
as long as it has seemed,
as long as it has seemed,
I finally had earned it.
I finally had earned it.
The title of Marine,
the title of Marine.
I'm Graham Flanagan. I'm the chief video correspondent here at Business Insider. I'm the creator and showrunner of the Boot Camp series, and today we're here to talk about one of our recent episodes about Marine Corps Boot Camp in San Diego. I'm joined here by Aj Caldwell, who's a senior producer for Business Insider. Aj served in like an assistant editor capacity on this, so like after I got back from San Diego, I had to like move on to a project that I'd already shot. It was like the Hawaii Army War Games piece that I spent a lot of time putting together. So then I gave all the footage to AJ, and you like went through and sort of organized it, logged it, put together sequences and scenes from which I then came back to it when I was done with that Army piece, and then started to like build the final product. So AJ spent a lot of time on this project, and so that's why, you know, I wanted to have you here to chat about it.
Sure, I appreciate it, yeah.
From your perspective, like when you just watched the footage, what were your impressions of Marine Corps Boot Camp?
Yeah, I think, so for me, I don't have the context of like being in the field on this particular shoot, and so I think the first thing I saw, I went in order, so first thing I saw was like students at the airport waiting to get picked up, and like to me that part was just so unique, because we're always like starting our shoots like on some sort of base, like in the middle of training, maybe the arrival to the base itself, and because this depot is like literally right up against the airport, it just starts like right when you land. But then I mean the second they get off that bus, it just picks up, and I think once I got to that part, I realized, if just arriving at the depot is this intense for these recruits, I can only imagine, what's going to happen in week 2, week 3, week 4, as I just keep going through the footage.
I'd filmed in Parris Island, the East Coast recruit depot for Marine Corps back in 2019. I went back in 2021 to do just a story about their Crucible culminating exercise. So I'd covered Parris Island, and there's this whole other operation on the West Coast in San Diego, and I thought we should go over there and see that, because the Marine Corps Boot Camp story from Parris Island from 2019 is a huge hit for us, for our show, for Business Insider. It's still like the most watched Business Insider video ever in terms of like a standalone episode of something. So it was like, okay, let's we're not just gonna like we could just go back to Parris Island and like remake that or reboot that, but there's this whole other thing happening on the West Coast, so let's go see what that's like. I was curious about two main things. What's changed in 5 years, and what's the environment like compared to Parris Island? So on that note, it's totally different. Like, you're in the South Carolina low country in Parris Island. There are these like sand fleas that everybody talks about, these little bugs that just irritate you and itch you and sting you, your legs particularly. But in San Diego, you are literally in the middle of the city. Like you said, you're right next to the airport.
Yeah.
And they're doing their initial strength test. Planes are like a few yards away, like giant jumbo jets taking off and landing. It makes it hard for them to understand what the instructors are saying. It's like chaos. Then you look around and like you can see like Metro San Diego all around you. Just a totally
skyline and everything.
Yeah. Totally different environment. Like nothing I've ever seen. I mean, we've been at all different military installations. Like you've been to like Lackland, I've been to Fort Benning and Fort Campbell and just all these places, and like when you're inside these installations, like there's no sign of the outside world, and so in San Diego it's just completely different, which has to be such a distraction for the recruits. So like they then go up to Camp Pendleton, which is like a much more sort of rural mountainous place. That's where you sort of get those Parris Island vibes, like you're away from civilization. But I have never been on an installation as unique as the San Diego Recruit Depot. So that was totally different. In terms of how have things changed since 2019, really not much.
Yeah.
I mean, they do the same thing. They show up on the yellow footprints, they get yelled at, they make that initial call home, they do their strength test, and like, really had not changed. The dynamic between the drill instructors and the recruits was the same as I guess it has been to varying degrees for many decades.
Yeah.
So that honestly, like, I was a little surprised that we didn't see more like obvious ways that it's changed, but I'm also not surprised because it's like they've kind of got a system that works.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Right, right. And we filmed a Crucible in 2021, an Eagle Globe and Anchor pendant ceremony, and in that video, it was like basically at the height of COVID, or early 2021, before the vaccine, and so we filmed that scene, and they're all crying when they get the EGA, but they're all wearing masks, which just killed me.
Hides a lot of the emotion.
Totally. Like you could just see like their eyes up to this point and then and some tears coming down that would then get soaked up by the mask. So I was really excited in 2024 to be able to like go back and film that, see their faces, and it delivered. Like on cue, all these now Marines are just like weeping.
What were some of the differences between the Crucible at Parris Island and then the Crucible at the San Diego?
I mean, they were doing a lot of the same stuff.
I imagine terrain might play right.
Totally. Like Parris Island's flat, you know, and in San Diego, in Camp Pendleton, where they do the Crucible, it's mountainous, and they have that big hike and that the run up the Reaper, this big hill where they're like screaming and yelling, and they get to the top, and it's like, whoa, this big catharsis. They didn't really have that anything that could compare to that in Parris Island. Like that's one thing that West Coast Marine training boot camp has on Parris Island, I guess you could say. And the San Diego Marines, they have this like nickname. They call them Hollywood Marines. Like you're on the West Coast, it's not as hard as Parris Island with the sand fleas and the humidity and everything. But they have Camp Pendleton. You don't get that in South Carolina. Very different. The terrain is I would say much more challenging. Even though certainly Parris Island, like I said, a lot of things about that place that make it very hard, especially depending on like what time of year it is. So I think the verdict is Marine Corps recruit training, Marine boot camp is going to be hard.
Yeah, no matter where you go.
It doesn't feel like it's real. It feels like a dream. But I can physically feel it and know that it is not a dream. It is the real thing. It's a great honor to hold this in my hand and know that I earned this. And it is mine and no one else can take it from me.
We actually have a now Marine who was a recruit in this video, in this Marine Corps Boot Camp San Diego video, Brandon Weaver, then recruit Weaver, now Lance Corporal Brandon Weaver. We've got him live from Japan right now. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us. It's been about a year or a little over a year since we met.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for joining. So you're in Japan, you're at Okinawa, the big Marine installation there. And tell me a little bit about where you're from. You're from very far away from Japan. Tell me like where you're from. Give me a little bit about your background.
I'm originally from Oklahoma. I'm from Porto, Oklahoma. It's a little blinking and miss town, basically. It's got like less than 10,000 people that live there.
Did you ever think that you would end up in Japan? I mean, obviously a lot of Marines go to Japan, but like, is this something that was like on your bingo card for your life? Like that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Japan has been on my hit list for a long time.
Because you've got Marines in your family that sort of probably.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that.
My stepfather, who I consider him my father, he was originally a Marine. He was in 0351, and he was stationed in Japan for a long time. And so I heard stories growing up of whenever he was in Japan. He was on Camp Schwab.
Okay. How long have you been over there?
I've been over here for just over a month.
Oh, wow. So you're brand new to it. I met you in April of 2024, was with you for like 3 days. And then the video comes out like a year later. What was your reaction to the video? I sent you the link. I was like, here it is. And so, yeah, tell me just like your impressions of it.
So I recently got a new phone, so I didn't even see the email. Like, I got a whole new email, so I had to go back onto my old email to actually see that you sent me that. It's actually one of my sergeants had walked over to me and was like, "Weaver, have you seen this video? You know, you're in this video." I was like, "Oh, cool! It's finally out." And so that's whenever I watched it, and it was just I could remember like everything that was happening. I can remember every little detail about it.
Most Marines go through boot camp and training, and there's not. I mean, sometimes there are cameras there for this or that reason, but like it's pretty rare that there's like a camera person following you around. So like, what was it like to sort of relive those moments from the Crucible in this way? That's pretty rare.
It was really really cool, really unique, and at times it was a little cringy, like hearing my voice, how like broken it was.
Weaver! That's not what you're supposed to do! You were told to get
He's
on
not
the
responding,
road!
Weaver.
Respond!
Okay, now you're not responding to me.
I sir!
Fix it!
I am him!
Hearing some of the things that I was saying, and it was like I could tell I was tired and not really all there at the time.
Did anything come to mind that like made you cringe?
Not really, just mostly like how my voice was like really broken and raspy.
Two! Columns! This is not two!
When you look back at that footage, how did you feel physically? Like you talked about your voice being shot, but we always talk about the Crucible. They're running on low sleep. They're running on low food. But like, what was it really like for you in those few days? And I think it's 54 hours of the Crucible. Like, what did your body feel like?
It was extremely tiring. It was extremely taxing on your body, and it was painful. But it was something that if I had to, I would do it again.
I hear that a lot. Like I've seen that in a lot of comments on YouTube. People, you know, obviously when you're in boot camp, especially on that first night, the yellow footprints, everybody is like so nervous. And it seems like extremely stressful, but I see a lot of comments of people saying like, I wish I could go back and do this all again. Why do you think people say that?
It's just, at least for me, it's such an important moment. It's something that I personally have looked up to for several years, for, like I said in the video, for most of my life. And so it's just something that if I had the chance, I would love to relive it. It's like the feeling like having like a favorite movie or something and watching it for the first time and wishing you could have that same experience that you did the first time. It's just, I would love to be able to relive that.
You said you were tired and you know, physically exhausted, but like when I interviewed you about, it was like around the time you were doing pugil sticks and hand-to-hand combat, and I just said, is boot camp hard? And you said that it was hard, but you said then mostly because of the mental aspect of it. And yes, you emphasized like being homesick, being away from home, just generally for boot camp. What were like the mental challenges that you faced, you know, and tell me about that. Describe that homesickness that you felt.
So a big one was, as you know, it's right there by the airport. And so a lot of times whenever we were PTing on over there right by the airport. So we heard the planes flying overhead. We seen the planes taking off. And it was just like one of the recruits said in the video, it's just being ready to get back on that plane, be able to go back home to your family.
So what did it feel like when you actually did get on a plane? And
I didn't actually get on a plane to go back home. My parents came and picked me up. They drove the whole, like, 2 days to get out there, and we drove back.
What was that like, that reunion, after the you know, the intense 13 weeks of boot camp?
Well, I got tackled by my mom and my sisters whenever they released us. Whenever the family came out on the parade deck, I was walking over to them, and they basically just tackled me almost.
So you told me you have a dog, a blue heeler named Blue, and that you really miss that dog. I've got a picture of Blue. Have you since been reunited with your dog?
I have, yes, sir. He's actually currently in San Diego.
Okay. What was that like to meet him?
He also tackled me upon seeing me. He was very, very excited to see me, and he still to this day Whenever I'm home, he does not leave my side. Anytime I go somewhere, he's right there with me.
So he remembered you.
Yes, sir. He very much remembered me.
Drill instructors.
Yes, sir.
I got to see, I mean, in the Crucible, they ramp it back up, right? And you had some really compelling drill instructors in your company. Tell me specifically, when you go back and watch the footage, tell me about those drill instructors and what it's like to go back and watch that footage of them in their element, and just like what impact they had on you during that experience.
I look at it as like I look back at it as like a mentorship kind of thing. I really, really appreciate my drill instructors. I really appreciate all that they have done for us and are continuing to do. And hoping that one day I can meet them to be able to actually formally thank them.
Pick up your own weight!
Amen.
Well, tell me about Martinez. You know, she was on you a lot. She gave you your EGA, if I remember correctly. Tell me about your relationship with her.
She was our tray, our knowledge hat, and she was also the one that was in charge of our gear and cleaning supply locker. We call the whiskey locker, which is where I got the name Whiskey Weaver, because I was the whiskey chief per se. And so she was always, from like the second week whenever I became whiskey chief, she was constantly on me almost every night to go fix the whiskey locker, because somebody would mess up and put something in the wrong spot, and then I have to go and fix it. And so it just became a thing of where she was constantly on me, and it just became natural that I was like her pick me recruit per se.
I love that. I was gonna ask you during that EGA ceremony, when she gets to you.
Whiskey Weaver.
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations on being Sergeant.
Thank you, ma'am.
I was wondering what the origin of that was. That's so cool that you explained that. That was like one of the main things I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, I remember at one point, Martinez was really going in while you were stick leader.
Weaver.
What did you kind of just like learn about leadership during that point in the training, being the stick leader for your group?
I learned a big part of you kind of can't let everyone do really what they want. You can't really be like, oh, hey, you need to do this. You sometimes you have to have like a stronger fist and actually, lay down, this is what you are going to do, because we can't afford for you not to.
Tell me about just like the interaction. Like, how did the dynamic change between you and the other recruits while you were stick leader?
Korokovsky. Yes. Fix the paps.
Some of them really respected me, and others did not, and that was kind of prevalent in like who would listen, who wouldn't. And some of them, it wasn't like, oh, they're just a little slower at moving, and so that's why they weren't, listening per se. And so it was really, how do I put it? It was a very learning experience, and it was something that I think everyone needed to do, and I'm glad that everybody did get to do. And it's just one of those things that you'll have to lead at some point in your life, and it just teaches you how to lead. It gives you the experience of, hey, we've taught you what you need to do. This is now your chance to prove that you know how to do it.
What was it like? I just show up and kind of naturally find somebody to follow. It happened to be you. Not what you were expecting, right? And
No, sir.
so what's that like? I mean, you seem like totally cool with it, and you were always like really open to talking, and I have to kind of find that balance, because I don't want to like just totally distract you from what's going on. I try to I'll film, I'll move away, but like how did that sort of impact your experience? Having me around and following you. What was your sort of feeling about that?
It gave me more of a, oh, hey, if you're going to slack, you don't need to slack even more, because, you have the whole world might be watching this one day. And so it just really kept me on my toes, made me, put my best foot forward and make sure that I really ensure that I did everything that I needed to do.
After the Reaper, which I only saw the run up the hill, right? Like
Yes, sir.
that was a much longer hike, right? That started in the darkness.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that experience.
So we stepped off from the base of the hill, or from, I don't know, it was a couple miles away. We stayed overnight there, and then that morning they woke us up. We packed up our baby sacks, got our main packs put back together. We ate chow for maybe a minute or two, and then we got up and we started hiking, and it was just a really long and felt like a never-ending hike. And the road was kind of off. It was kind of offset. I don't know if you see my hand. It's kind of offset the whole way. It's kind of angled a little bit, and so we just kept going, and then eventually we seen this. It was like a tin building, and then we looked to the left, and there it was. There was the roof, and we could tell that was it.
And then after that, I mean, that's one of the coolest things I've ever filmed is that run up the hill. They certainly don't have that in Paris Island in the low country where it's flat, right? Like that is unique to Camp Pendleton and for the San Diego Marine recruit experience. And after that run, everybody was kind of like resting, eating, and there was just this quiet moment, and there was like emotion on all the different recruits' faces to varying degrees. And I got to you and I asked you, how are you feeling?
How are you feeling now? It's almost all over.
Well, not quite over yet, sir, but feeling like I could conquer the world.
I mean, tell me about that response. Why did you feel that way?
It's just how long the hike was. It was a very long, grueling hike. And it was probably up until that point the most challenging part, or not really challenging part, but the most looked forward to part. And it was a very rewarding feeling going up that hill and finally, conquering the Reaper.
Then obviously I saw you receive your EGA pendant, Eagle Globe and Anchor pendant, which sort of symbolizes the transformation from recruit to Marine. Like when you get that, you are a Marine. Along with many of the other recruits, there were tears streaming down your face.
Yes, sir.
Why is that moment so powerful for new Marines?
I would think that it's so powerful because it's just, we've worked so hard for this. It's something that, you can't just skate through. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to halfway do this and maybe I'll get it. No, you have to actually work for it. You have to actually push through, actually show out. You have to actually work to get just little pendant, just no bigger than this right here. And it's just a very rewarding item to be able to hold.
Do you keep that with you? Is that something that you make sure you know where it is? Where is your EGA pendant?
It is, well, my EGA pendant that I received in the video, I do not have anymore. That EGA pendant is now with Sergeant Carvajal, which he would have been my second choice had Sergeant Martinez not been able to give the EGAs. And after the final part where you had me show the EGA, I went back inside and he called me over to the duty hut and he told me to give me his EGA, give him my EGA, sorry. And so I did, I handed it to him and he went inside the duty hut and came back out with another EGA and he asked me to tell him the difference between the two. And I told him that mine was more matte, it was more new, and the other one was older. And he said, that's because this other one is off of my campaign cover, and I think you deserve to have it. And so he put my EGA on his campaign cover and gave me his EGA.
Whoa. That's awesome.
It was a very, I never thought that was a thing that could or would happen, but I later asked him and he said that anytime that he needed a recruit to do something, he said I was always there. I was always willing to do anything that needed to be done. I was one of the only recruits that he felt deserved it.
Why didn't they let me film that?
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't think that was really planned. I think that was just on a whim. He was like, "Yep, we're just gonna do it right now."
So you said a sergeant was the first person that like told you, hey, that video's out, because you hadn't seen my email yet. What other types of reactions or comments, feedback have you gotten since the video went out and has become like a big hit?
Pretty much everybody in my shop, almost everybody in the squadron. I've even had people from other squadrons that have seen me and be like, "Hey, I seen you on YouTube. You're that Weaver guy." And it's just, at times I just have to like lower my head and just shake it and be like, "Yep, that's me." It's not a fame thing that I thought would really be as common as like, "Oh, hey, you're that guy." I thought it'd just be like, some people would notice it and be like, "Oh yeah, that's that guy." But no, people actually like walk up to me and like, "Oh yeah, I seen you on YouTube." And my corporal actually printed off some pictures and screenshots from the video, and we just have it in the shop.
Awesome. Well, this is just so cool. We've never done this. I've never really done this, like followed up with somebody from any of our videos. Like we film it, we put it out. That's kind of it. This is just so cool to like catch up with you, hear some more of these stories that like we didn't see, like with your EGA pendant. So this is awesome. But I'm just curious, like, tell me a little bit about your job. Like, what are you doing now? What, like, as much as you can, like, what's sort of your role as an aviation operations specialist?
So an aviation operations specialist is basically, we take care of it's more of an administrative job. But like, we have to run a PFT and CFT every year. We take care of that. We're in the S3 shop. We run operations. We take care of anything operation-wise. So, like the flight schedule that needs to be made, we make that every day. Every morning we make that. And whenever someone has to do like their semi-annual height and weight, we take care of that. We take care of the PFT, CFTs, and just stuff like that.
How much longer do you think you're going to be in Japan?
Probably another 6 or 7 months.
Okay. And then likely come back to the U.S., but you never know.
Yes, sir.
Right?
I'll be coming back to San Diego.
Okay, cool. Well, again, thanks for chatting with us, and good luck to you, Lance Corporal Brandon Weaver, United States Marine Corps. Thank you for your service. Thank you for talking to us today. Thanks for letting me follow you around and bug you. I think we've gotten a great response from the video, and I think hopefully we will continue to. And it's just been such a pleasure getting to know you and chatting with you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
I finally had earned it. The title of Marine. The title of Marine.